What's up, guys? Purpose here. So, this Last Dance docuseries, documentary, whatever you want to call it, just keeps getting better and better. You know, the one about Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls from I think it was 1997, 1998. It was supposed to document their last championship season. But of course, we get in depth and more explanations about, Michael Jordan through his entire journey, through his entire career, which is extremely excellent. I bet you guys LeBron will do something like this when his career is over or near the end of his career because what you're seeing is you're just getting access to things that you didn't have before. Now, I've watched many videos and little short movies on different championship Bull seasons, especially the last two, but you just never got stuff like this. So, we get to hear about his political stance, when he first signed his first shoe deal with Nike, how they were a track shoe, and then his brand and his globalization just it took over. He sold 125 million shoes, I think, in the first year. So that just shows you how incredible of an athlete he was. And then you get to, I think I already said, his gambling addiction, his political stance. Well, gambling addiction. Then his political stance. Uh, just different types of things, man. It's just so fun to watch. It's so fun to hear. Um, and he also talks about one important aspect, which is, the price of fame and how mentally and more so mentally than physically, how it was starting to take its toll, which is one of the reasons why he really did retire was because of the mental strain that it had, which I'm pretty sure 7 and 8 will carry over into his retirement the first time and his father's death and all that stuff because we didn't get much of that really, but I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details about this stuff because you can watch it on ESPN. But what I will say is that the thing that people should really take away from Michael Jordan, if you want to admire him or take away something that you should use for yourself, is once you take a stance on something that you believe in, you should always you should never change it because somebody told you to. You should change it because you saw something different in yourself. And that's one thing that I really do like about him is that over the years, he's not a big humanitarian. He's not a guy who's big on, people would say he's not big in helping the black community. And that is kind of weird and it may be alarming to some, but, you know, what I'm not saying you should admire that part about him, but, he never changed his stance and he didn't cave. I think that's the one thing I'm really trying to get to here is like, as people, we tend to cave to outside pressure. We tend to cave to others around us because they say this is what you should do. Then you get pressured by other people. But one thing he never did was he never caved, and he never succumbed to peer pressure. That's just not what he did. He During his career, he was really about basketball, his career, and his brand. Now, while that seems like a selfish point of view, and it is for a lot of people, you know, that's how majority of the world still is today. Is like we are trying to advance as far in our career as possible, make the most money we can, and then retire. Michael Jordan wasn't. The only difference was is that he's an athlete on the world stage. So, you know, a lot of decisions that he made was highly publicized. Not endorsing the Senate run of an African American was hugely publicized, and he was criticized for not openly, endorsing him. But he did give him. He said he did give him a sum of money or a nice donation, but he wasn't openly. He wasn't very political. Now, me personally, I'm not a fan of politics either. So I think politics to me is something that I just don't want to or ever want to be involved in because I think there's just too many games that are played. So that one part about Michael Jordan, I do like because he just didn't want to get involved in all that political junk where you endorse this guy, but then guess what? That compromises something or you somewhere else. Because you have to remember, if he endorses this African American, which you should never, think about the consequences because or you should. It's it's just different things. He compromises here by endorsing this guy. We have a lot of white men in power that then make the choices that they make, which can jeopardize his money here. Then his endorsements here are affected because he did this action. So instead of compromising and then eventually doing it, all these years, he's still never compromised or never caved in. And I will say that you have to admire that. You have to appreciate people who do that instead of criticizing them for not doing this over the years, not doing that. And I think it can really be applied to our time today where, you know, as much as I don't enjoy seeing people just kind of taking their guidance from people who are elected officials, I understand that at this point, this is what you've done your whole life, so you're not really willing to change, which that part is a little alarming. But you know what? We all live our lives in different ways. We all have our own different opinions, and what we should never do is judge someone just based on what we see them do, because we don't know what their core values are or why they do what they do. So we got, and then let's move on to the gambling addiction. Jordan said he didn't have a gambling addiction, he had a competitive addiction, which you could definitely there's definitely validity to that. Now, what you're going to have is a lot of fans out there of different athletes, more in particular LeBron fans who I've encountered recently a lot, talk about, how Jordan got his father killed with his gambling. The league kicked him out, which contributed to his first retirement because of gambling. Even though David Stern, rest his soul, said that they found nothing. You know, is there more to the story? Probably, but you know, I think for the most part, Jordan was honest. He's so competitive that he's just betting on little things, betting big money on little things. Golfing, like I believe that's stuff that he bet on. Do I think he bet on himself and during games? Definitely not. I think that's just the part where it just would get out of control. So, but the cool thing about it was, he uses a lot of different motivations. He used that motivation off the court from the people criticizing him about going to Atlantic City. He used that, and he took over the series against the Knicks, scoring, I think it was either 54, 55. Like, just you see his greatness in many things where he uses, this type of downside or a little tragedy to, take his game to the next level. I think that's what another thing where you can consider Jordan is the best at what he did. Because while some other players would cave in, they would let this spiral their career down. He took it up a notch. Another player who could contribute to that, which is why people say they're similar, is Kobe Bryant when he had this situation going on back in the day. He took his game to the next level. So, you know, um, there's not much else I want to say. I just, I do hope you guys take away what I said is that, everybody's different. We have our own opinions. We have different reasons for why we do things, but you should never let the outside world or other people dictate your actions or control what your next step is. That's the problem that we really have. And, our views to me are a little bit swayed and controlled by the media. So in the next video, I'm going to talk more about that because in today's age, and I think Jordan documentary kind of showed this and how he refused to kind of change his stance and take a political stance, just not what he was. But, thank you guys for listening. Leave your comments and tell me what you think. Remember, it's your opinion. So if you don't agree with what I say, let me know. But that's just what I think. So, but I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.